Well, good morning there, everyone. It is Friday, March the 4th, in the fabulous year of 2022. Hopefully it's finding you doing outstanding. So let's give a good cheer. It's Friday. If you're a working man, your weekend is almost here, unless you're a shift worker, or unless you're like the missus. When she was working, she worked 7 days a week. She did it sometimes months on end without a day off. So when you're complaining about, man, I work 6 days in a row, I've worked months in the past where all 30 days, or 31, I did not have a single day off. The missus, she worked periods of 3, 4, 5 months without a single day off. So stop your whining. Anyway, and if you're not investing yet, why not? Stop making excuses. So anyway, a couple quick things here. I just watched a video by Michael Zuber. He was talking about stagflation and the misery index and so on and so on. And he's talking about, I don't know. I find sometimes his videos, he's a little on the depressing side at times. Not always. He's educational. He's good to watch. But sometimes it's like he's melodramatic, if that's the right word, because he's gone for the views and the subscribers in a way. Yes and no. You can disagree with me. But when I watch something like that, I think to myself, sure, the country, the world as a whole may go in some direction. But let's say the misery index is comprised of two figures. It's CPI and it's unemployment. CPI is consumer price index, kind of like inflation. Okay, and unemployment. You know what unemployment is because people are out of work, all right? But we have to look, yes, you can look at the big picture, but don't worry about the big picture. We all live in this world. Too many Americans, and I'll just talk about Americans, too many Americans stress about the big picture. They stress about the big issues. We need to look at our little corner of the world. Let's protect ourselves, our own little spot, our families. Don't worry. Yes, be aware of what's happening in the big picture, but protect you and those you care about. Make your own little bubble of good stuff. And if we all can do that, the big picture will take care of itself. And if it doesn't, that's where sometimes we join together and we step in. We don't do like what was done a year or so ago when, I won't get into politics, but there's an attempted coup attempt in the United States of America. People don't see this. I don't get it, but I'm not going to talk on that. So anyway, stagflation, inflation, CPI, unemployment. If you're an investor, sure, pay attention, be aware, be educated, but don't let it bother you. Just keep plugging away. Take life day by day. Do the best you can. All right, so let's see. We're wrapping up the first partial week in March. A couple things going on. I had one house up in Indiana that had tenant turnover. We've had issues with that house going back 6-8 months ago. Tenant not paying rent. They got some government assistance. I got a big check in that covered like 6 months of rent. And then that money ran out and then they stopped paying again. They were trying to get assistance, but then basically we said the property manager told them, you need to go. You're not going to get assistance. You need to go. So I had a couple months of not getting rent. Then we had the rehab that was just done and the house turned out fantastic. It looks beautiful in the pictures. And an application was just approved, a deposit was put down, and a tenant is moving in ASAP. And that means I'll be getting rent coming in again. So that'll be nice. Because when I'm not getting rent, I'm still paying the mortgage, and I'm still paying taxes. I'm still paying insurance. So there's zero income, but there's expenses going out for that particular property. Now, in this first month, what will happen is the property manager, when they find a new tenant, they will typically charge something like, my property manager will charge half a month's rent as their fee, like kind of like their finder's fee for finding that tenant, half a month's rent. So that rent, my rent went up from like $800 to $950. So half of $950 is like $475. So they'll take out their $475, and I think they'll still take out their 8% rate from the total amount. And then I'll get the remainder. And I think their application, I was told yesterday it was approved and put the deposit, so I'm not sure what the start date is. I don't know if they're starting March 1st or March 4th, what the start date is. So will it be, it'll be a full month's rent, because I think the property manager will charge a full month's rent. And say the start date though is March 4th, so it's a couple days less in the month. And the April check is when the tenant will pay a couple of days less of rent, not the first check. When I self-manage, if it started mid-month, I always charge the tenant the full month's rent. So that way I get my full month's rent, because I want to make sure they have the money. And then on the second month, I may reduce it so they pay half rent to adjust for that coming in mid-month, if that makes sense to you. So anyway, excuse me, it'll be nice to get a little bit of rent in. Maybe I get $300, $350, hopefully, as long as there's no little repair. That's something sometimes when you have rehab done, everything looks great, but when the tenant moves in, they find something. Maybe some nail wasn't nailed all the way in and something pops off or something. They find something. So maybe there's a little expense to fix that up. But hopefully not, but we shall see. Let's see what else. So I should get that rent money will come in towards the end of the month. So it'll be hopefully a couple $100 more. And hopefully there won't be any other tenant moving out or any other big rehab expense or anything. Let's see what else. I do have a house in Alabama. The tenant was evicted and they got out. Unfortunately, there was a lot of work that needed to be done, like almost $10,000 worth of work. So that work should be progressing. I just texted my contact there with the property management company and asked for an update. I haven't got an update yet on, because he's supposed to give me a Friday update on what work has been done during the week. Because he said once they get started, week and a half to 2 weeks, they should be able to complete everything. So I believe we're 1 week into it. So I want an update, because once that house is complete, my real estate agent friend there, who I've met, Rob Drum, shout out Rob, even though you don't watch my channel. Rob Drum is an investor, and he's a flipper, and he's a real estate agent. So Rob will help me out and put that house on the market. So that's the game plan. What I'm not sure of yet, I needed to probably pull up my tax return from last year, look at a few things. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do a 1031 exchange or not. 1031 exchange, if you're not familiar with the term, is when you sell a investment property, not your primary residence, an investment property, and you have a gain on that. You can defer your taxes by rolling the money into buying new real estate. There's conditions. You have to spend, if you want to completely eliminate the tax burden, whatever your capital gain is, you have to spend at least that much on another property. And then the new property buy has to have a mortgage exceeding the mortgage you had on the first property. Something like that. And I'm not a CPA. Okay, I'm not a CPA. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an attorney. So I may get something wrong. So if you're interested, contact your own CPA, find your own intermediary so you can do this. But anyway, if you do this, there's a fee. There's always I have a contact, he'll charge $1,000, some will charge $1,500, some will charge $2,000. So there's that expense that you pay the person, because you can't touch the money. They get it, they hold it, and then they send it on to make your purchase. Now, why would I not want to do this? A couple things. One, there is that expense. That's one thing. That's not a big deal. There's that expense. Number two, there's criteria. There's a clock that starts ticking. You have to identify the property in a certain time period. You have to complete the purchase in a certain time period. So sometimes that puts an investor under pressure, and they may, because the clock is winding down, they may buy something that they don't necessarily want to buy. Okay? So if we back up to Maskey's situation, I don't like being forced to do anything at all. And at the same time, what the gurus will tell you, if you watch Bigger Pockets, they'll say you 1031 everything, you roll it into more property, you defer your taxes, you never sell, you 1031 those other properties, you roll them into other stuff. Then when you die, you pass it on to your heirs, they get it at a stepped up cost basis, and they could sell it on day one to get the cash, but they don't pay any tax on it, so no one ever pays tax on it. Okay, I plan to live for a long time. So I plan to have more real estate for hopefully decades to come. So with that being said, if I have to say on this house, and I'm tripping over my words. Say on this house I'm rehabbing in Alabama. I just spent $10,000 to rehab it. that'll be added to my the cost basis, let's say, or the it's I don't know all the terminology, and I can't explain it that well. So I'm sorry, but my capital gains will be less. Let's just say that it won't be that much. So if I'm only making, let's just say I'm making $20,000, is it worth it to do a 1031 exchange? Perhaps not. Perhaps not. The tax burden is not that great. It's not like I'm making $100,000. It's not that. So I may not do a 1031 exchange. It'll simplify things. I do have investments in oil, which gives me tax write-offs. So that helps to reduce or eliminate any tax burden. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll let you know what I decide. I need to decide something fairly soon here, so I will let you know. Let me think what else I got going on. I got the rehab in Indiana. That's renters found. I got the rehab in Alabama. Then we need to put it on the market. So we'll see how fast or slow it will sell. We're in March. I think that's it for the updates. I did email my contact with my mineral rights. He told me to reach out to him once a month just to get any updates on that. But I just emailed this morning, so I don't think I've received an email back just yet. And like I said, I texted my contact who's doing the rehab down in Alabama. I haven't heard back just yet either. So, but if I don't hear back, I'll call them early in the afternoon, I think, to get an update because it is Friday. I want my weekly update. So then I need to reach out to Dom. Dom, buddy, you got work going on up there. I owe you some money. Give me that information so I can get the money to you. I feel I'm not, between me and you, buddy, I owe you money. Don't leave me hanging. Give me the information so I can pay you. All right? I know you watch my channel. Give me the information so I can pay you. I don't like being in debt at all. So, all right, good enough. Well, you all take care. Stay safe. Do what you can do to continue your investment journey. If you haven't started yet, take that first step because it will change your life. All right? Good enough. Take care. Mazske is signing out.